Today on Metaphysical Mississippi, we have Janet McLellan, and she's an artist as well as a Feng Shui consultant. And we're going to learn a little bit more about what she's offering, so stick around. Janet, co-host Krista, and myself, Emily, are so happy to have you here today.
I'm happy to be here.
Yay.
Yeah, we took your class. What was it like? Was it in May or June?
Early June.
The third, I think.
Yes, a Feng Shui class. And I'm an interior design major, but I don't use it. But it just fascinated me. The subject of Feng Shui, I had never explored it. And it really ignited a fire in me to get back into interior design. So when I found out you had offered it and that you're going to offer it again, it really
Part two.
yes, it really got me excited. So we're so happy. And now that I am kind of new to the metaphysical community, bringing that in. I'm just learning so much. I'm learning what chi means and all that, which I am going to ask you because I forget later in the broadcast. But this is another installment of Ask a ... And for this one, it is Ask a Feng Shui Consultant. So we're not really going to get into personal questions unless it's, about me, but we've
Janet has been a guest on our show before when we had the sister talk.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. Okay, Janet. We heard a little bit about your history in a previous podcast, but today I want you to go into more of what led you into Feng Shui and being a practitioner. And also, I'm going to want to know what changes it made in your life too, if you want to share that, but you don't have to.
Sure. Well, I started off as an interior designer, not trained, but everybody wanted me to help them with that, and it just got to be bigger and bigger. And then in my metaphysical exploration, I ran across a Feng Shui book, and I had no idea what it was, but I was interested in Oriental things and I thought it was interesting. So I read the book and discovered that design and Feng Shui go hand in hand. So they kind of Feng Shui, first of all, isn't really metaphysical. It's an art that was developed over 6,000 years ago with the Chinese people. And they found that there were different elements in the universe, such as wood, metal, water. I can't think of the rest of them. I'm just blank right now.
Fire? No.
Fire.
Okay.
And
I took the class.
I know.
Took the class.
Did you take it? Wait a minute, I've got it written down.
Earth, metal, wood, fire.
Fire, earth, metal, wood, and water. So the one I was forgetting is earth. But because of those elements, the Chinese knew that if they, in their environment, that if they could, those elements affected everything they did. And so they would began to realize that if they could manipulate them or balance them, that they would become beneficial to them. And so Feng Shui has developed over the years as a sort of religion almost. But Americans, or the Western world, thinks of it as a metaphysical thing because it is, I don't know if esoteric is the word to use, but it's sort of just
It's ancient wisdom.
Right. And it's but it's sort of ethereal. It doesn't have a body that you can like see and study. It's more of an energy thing. And that's where we come to the chi part of it. And chi is an energy that everything is made of energy. Every single thing has atoms and protons and neurons and electrons. And so all of that combined is like an energy field that circles everything. And I mean, everything in the universe is made up of what we call chi. Some people call it God, spark, energy, and some people call it just the energy that we breathe in or use every day. We use it in Reiki, we use it in all different kinds of, I don't know what I want to say about that. What is it?
Practices and areas of our life and practices.
Areas of our life, yeah. And we use them, it surrounds us. It's the air we breathe is full of it. Like in India, they believe it's called prana, and everything is made up of prana, chi. It's called ki in Japan. There's lots of words for it, but it's everything we breathe. Everything is made up of it. It's everything. But the ideal in Feng Shui is that you want the energy to swirl. Everything moves in a spiral. And so everything in the universe moves in a spiral. And the Indian people believe that the universe spirals, and then we go in and out of that spiral. We spiral down and then we spiral up. And so a lot of the energy in Feng Shui does that. You use that tool of the energy flowing up and flowing down as a way to balance. So when we get to the idea of Feng Shui, you have to think of it in terms of a spiral. Everything forms, chi should flow in a way that it can circle everything and flow around and in and out of things easily, because you want that energy to flow easily. Because if you have a block or something that would stop the energy, then you become stagnant in that area, which leads to not having enough love in your life or not having enough money flowing in. You know, you have to keep things flowing in. You want love to develop and you want it to stay fresh and alive. And the same with money. You want your money to flow in and you also want it to flow out. You want it to be an exchange. And so, but you also do that with health. And health is the center of the Feng Shui Bagua, which is the chart that we use to give boundaries to Feng Shui. So we have let me show you. This is a Bagua, and it has different areas, and you put the square over the blueprint of your house or the blueprint of your desk or the blueprint of whatever you're trying to do. And each of these colors represents an area of your life. It has the center is health, though, and if the health part of it is not balanced, then everything else gets unbalanced. Your health area, which is equal to your solar plexus in your chakras, then that becomes, if it's unbalanced, then everything else is not balanced, because everything goes in a circle. So you have the health is represented by a coiled snake, which is the solar plexus also. So you use the coiled snake. A lot of people sees the Buddha meditating on the lotus, and the lotus is 1,000 petals. So it is also a circle. So everything is a circle, and then the chi flows in a circle. So it becomes a never-ending cycle of life. So you want to keep that cycle moving and develop it in areas that are stagnant. So if there's a place in your life that's not quite right, then you fix that. And I just want to show you, this is a Bagua, what it really looks like. And I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but this is an actual Bagua, and it is developed in a circle with the different areas. So the square that we use is the American way, the Western way of using the bagua. And
Oh,
right, there you go. You can see it better. But there are different sects of feng shui. There's I want to read them to you. There is the form school, which is the one that I practice mostly. It's the most encompassing. It kind of encompasses all the rest of them together. And there's the black hat sect, which is talks about the 3 doors, and it's much more advanced than some, but just different. But or you'd have to be more advanced in it to understand what that means. But there's the 8 mansions, which is the one that is used where you use the compass to find the north part of your house, and then everything would lead out from there. So
is this a compass? No, this is
it's like it's a bagua, but it's shaped in the
so this is not
shape.
actually, when you say you use a compass, you actually use a regular
real compass, yeah.
A real,
And
okay.
you put that on the north side of your house, and then you can develop your chart that way. And then there's the compass school, which actually is uses time. So but that's more complicated too. And then there's the flying stars and the Vatsu, which is the Indian way of doing it. When they developed in China, it moved to India. So that's why we encompass India also, because it's also, they have their own way of doing it, which is all encompassed.
Oh, but they still use the wording feng shui.
They do, but they use it's just an energy exchange to them. Like I said, they believe in the spiral and everything, and so they use that as an energy exchange kind of.
And I know she, it's easier for me to imagine she is like air,
Right.
But when you're talking about the spiral too, the water to me is just so.
Well, that's what feng shui means: wind and water.
Wind and
And so,
wait, did I take a class on this?
so wind and
Hey,
water
Emily, you
constantly move.
I remembered something.
So, but wind and water constantly move. So if you think of it that way, everything is in constant movement. So that's why they use wind and water to represent.
I love that. I love that. Thinking of that.
So, okay. So
I'm
I'm also teaching an advanced class, and it encompasses the elements of feng shui, the fire, water, metal, et cetera, the 5 elements of the universe and how they affect us and how you use them in feng shui. So there's a lot, and the yin and yang, because people use yin and yang as a saying or in their own practices, but in feng shui it plays an important role in how you use your elements.
Yeah, I didn't realize how complicated it was.
Very complicated.
Until we took the class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need an expert.
Well,
or you need a consultant to come and help. I mean, I think
Take a
you should
class.
read a book, but it's just simpler to have someone who knows what they're doing already to come in and. But that was pretty fascinating, though.
Yeah, it's
So
very interesting. I learned it through just like everybody else, just picking up books and reading, and I got more and more interested because of the interior design aspect of it. And the more interested I became, the more books I read, and what I discovered that it was very confusing at first to read it in a book, because every book really uses a different sect of the feng shui. So that's why people get so confused when they read the books, because they don't really, they're reading one way and then they read a book and it's another way, and so it becomes very confusing.
Yes.
So but I learned about that and started doing charts for people, which is their own personal feng shui chart where you can get your lucky direction and the direction of your door and your birth date and all that together. And then it tells you more of what you personally can do in order to improve your feng shui in your life.
So you're basing it on dates,
Right.
not really a horoscope or astrology.
No,
but
it's the date you were born is an auspicious date for you. It's a lucky date for you. And so because you were born. And
Yeah.
so what you want to do is find the auspicious areas of your house or your environment or your office or whatever. Even you can even do your car. But
That's what I was sitting here thinking about, a car.
yeah, you can do your
Feng
car.
shuiing your car.
You can feng shui anything really, but if you use feng shui in any area of your life, your home is your sanctuary, and that's the most important area really that comes to mind.
But I would also feel that where you spend, if you're spending a lot of time in your office, you really need to feng shui that too.
Right. Your desk is real important, like where you put your
Yes.
phone or your adding machine or your whatever you use. But
Don't look at my desk right now. No, my temporary desk. No. No, that's all fascinating.
well, but I learned in books what was important and what wasn't important, but I actually attended the New York Design Institute, and but it had interior design, but it also taught a class in feng shui, and they brought a feng shui expert in from China and asked her to teach classes in the school. So I took that class, and that's how I really came to put it all together where it made sense.
Did she go with which kind of sect did
We
Did
went with the
she-
Compass School, or what it's called is the Form School. And the reason it's called that is because it incorporates a little of all of them. Because like I said, in Western feng shui, there's so much, we do everything different here. Our houses are square, where the houses in China are usually round, mud huts or, rice paper, they build
Yeah.
in the circle. So in feng shui, qi runs in a circle. So feng shui, the round house is the best form of living. But we use square houses or rectangular or L-shaped and all that. So you really have to learn about the compass method and all that in order to find the appropriate way to feng shui your own personal space.
So, talking about the rice, the panels with the rice paper. Most of those are just movable, right?
Right.
They're all movable panels.
They're
So
screens.
thank you, screens. And you think since I have a degree in interior design, I know it can recall. But that is a certain time of day moving those. Does it help with the flow?
No.
I was just wondering since it's mobile.
Well, I think that's why they use rice paper, because the air can flow sort of, it's
Oh.
porous and the
Yeah,
air can
that
flow
makes-
in and out.
That
But
makes sense.
they leave their doors open a lot because they want the refreshing air to come in. And that's also why they take off their shoes when they go in their home, because of the chi, and they want everything clean, which is one of the main precepts of feng shui, is for them to remain clutter-free and clean. And see, we don't do that. We leave our shoes on a lot.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's a person here in town that we all know that she requires you to take your shoes off before you go in her home. And I used to do that too. I've kind of gotten away from it since I moved here. But if you have a home where you take your shoes off, you'll notice the energy is different. And it's quieter. It's more calm. And so that's one of the ways you promote that energy.
Yeah, I had some neighbors once when I was in an apartment. And I think they were from India, and all their shoes were all stacked out on the door, the breezeway of the apartment. Still
Best
didn't
way to do
remember they didn't even bring them inside the home. What are your feelings on like a mud room or just there in the doorway?
Well, I think it's bad for the doorway, but if you have an actual dedicated mud room, that's the best way to do it because you can keep it contained.
So having a shoe, let's just say you have a front door and then you have a little bench with shoe cubbies underneath the bench. Would that be enough containment?
No. And the reason is because when you enter your home, that's where your chi enters. So you want that to be clean and free of any mud or dirt or anything like that, because it actually can contaminate your area, whatever area your house, your door enters into. It can contaminate that area. It brings the energy down to the dirt.
Oh. So what if you have, there's usually the coat closets.
Right.
There. Now you walk in, your shoes are on, you take your shoes off in your foyer and put them in the closet.
That's
shut
the
the
best
door.
way to do it.
Now, was it okay that the soles of your shoes touch the floor?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
When the Western Feng Shui, we do that.
Right.
So you have to
So put them in the closet.
you have to allow for the way we live. You can't just we can't be Chinese. We're not, we're in a Western society. So if you could keep them closed away, then that allows for the chi to flow. Chi doesn't flow into closets. So that's a good way to close stuff off that you don't want in your house.
And so many of us enter the house not through our front door, though. We enter it through the garage. We enter it through the back door.
But
like in my house, I come in and out of the garage, but my front door gets used a lot from other family members and people like, because I know in some people hardly ever use their front door, but actually I do use my front door a lot. But when I come in from the garage, a different, my shoes are just all over the house. I don't.
A lot of people do that.
yeah.
I try to take mine off when I get home, and then
Not off when I get home, but where they get landed is not.
Maybe you need to carry a little basket around it.
So setting your shoes by your bed is probably not the.
No,
Okay.
they belong in the closet. They have a area to live in. So
I like that.
And is there little things that are feng shui tips or tricks that is simply just having them closed behind a door, or is there other things you do to help contain that energy other than just shutting the door?
Well, the main precept, or one of the main precepts in Feng Shui, is no clutter. And that is so hard for Western people to comprehend because we have so much stuff. We just have a lot of stuff. But if you contain it in a way, or design it in a way, or exhibit it in a way that is beautiful, then you can have stuff like your shoes and things like that should be put away where they belong. That's clutter. And so you want to put that where it belongs. Even if you have a big basket in your closet that you just walk by and throw your shoes in and close the door, that's fine. It's okay for that because your closet is really not a part of that. You're closing it away.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the appropriate space for it.
Right.
And I was thinking on the thoughts of clutter, and I've just recently moved, and you know, when you relocate and you have to move an object from one area to another, you really think about, and I moved to a second story. So do I really want to carry this object up those stairs? You know?
Yep.
So some things I have decided that yes, I do. And like books, or just like a quilt, or things that are that family members have passed down. Let's just say our bells, or you know, little trinkets. So my interpretation of what you just said, displaying or housing or putting things in their proper place, that it is okay to have trinkets,
Right.
but put them in a curio cabinet or whatever, have a specific
you can-
place, or
You can display them
you
on.
can display
You can
them.
display them as long as they're dusted and kept clean, you know, which is
Yeah.
something we all have trouble with. You know, it's hard to dust every week or whatever. but
Yeah,
As long as they're displayed in a beautiful manner that pleases you,
gotcha.
then it becomes a part of your energy and a part of your feng shui.
And I don't know, maybe I've talked to you about this, or oh no, I was doing research on my own. That you also, when you're bringing in things that you've inherited, make sure to also consider memories that are attached to those.
Right.
And if they're negative energy, negative memories attached, that maybe that's not something you want to
Don't bring it
display.
into your home. And that also is true for antiques. You want to really decide whether you really want to have antiques in your home. But if you do, you have to cleanse them really well with sage. And there's actually a feng shui blessing that you can use, and you can write your own blessing, but it's usually you use incense and sage. And by the way, sandalwood incense is the incense that you use for feng shui.
Sandalwood.
Sandalwood. And you can use bells and sandalwood and sage, and you really practice working on your blessing. And you want to have something that you say that is very meaningful for you, and you say it 9 times. There are 9 areas of the Bagua, and you say it 9 times out loud using your bells every time you say it. And you have your incense and your sage burning, and then that actually cleanses the piece, so that if you really love it and you aren't just accepting it, you're loving it, then you can bless it and cleanse it, and it becomes a part of your home, your feng shui. You're bringing it into your circle. So you want to make sure that everything you use, you either love it, you need it, and if you don't, then get rid of it. My favorite saying is, when in doubt, throw it out.
I love that.
So,
when in doubt, throw it out.
So you want to get rid of clutter. It's the silent killer in feng shui. So you don't want to have a lot of clutter. And if you do have a lot of things that you own, you want to try to keep it as organized as possible.
What would you advise someone who feels an obligation, though, to hang on to something because, you know, a family, yeah.
I had a friend, as an example, I had a friend that had a lot of stuff in her attic, which the attic symbolizes the brain, the mind. And she had a lot of antiques from her mother. And every time she thought about them, it just brought her down. And she just hated that feeling. And so I talked to her, I feng shuied her house, and I talked to her about it. And I said, you really need to consider letting it go. If you're not enjoying it, if you don't love it, then let it go. And she immediately came out of her depression when she let them go, and just made just a huge difference in her life. And I have another story about her, the same Feng Shui talking about the area of her love corner. And she had a hot water heater in her love corner. It was actually in her kitchen, and her hot water heater was in the corner. And when she I told her just picture it as not negative, but that she's heating up her love life.
I love that.
So to use that as a way to look at it, but she also went a step further, and on the door of the hot water heater, she painted a cafe scene with two people sitting at the cafe scene. Now, some people aren't talented enough to do that, but you could certainly hang a picture of it on the outside. And but she got a boyfriend in a week.
Oh my God.
So it really works. I mean, I can't explain to you how much, or express how much Feng Shui actually affects your life. When you get your chi right, everything's right. And you really have to focus on that.
Well, I'm starting to, when you showed the health in the center, sometimes just, it's like, I think everybody knows that the health is really needs to be the main focus, but there's just so many things pulling at you that I know I feel like sometimes I make feeble attempts to conquer my health at a place of lack, or at a place of exhaustion.
Right.
And like, so I still try to keep all these other plates spinning while trying to do that health.
Well, you don't think of it in terms of working to do it. You want it to be your sanctuary. So health is contained in the center of your house. And what they're trying to, or what Feng Shui tries to do, is to teach you how to be more serene and to let the worry of health go, to be healthy, not just study it or try to do it, or focus on that all the time. You want to bring the calm to it.
And that's why I was going to say that the last 2 weeks, I just stopped, and I was gifted time. And it was a blessing to have the time I had to take, just get into yoga and have that serene moment. And yes, I still, have the physical health that I've had, but it really did calm me down and allowed me to now focus on these other areas.
Yeah.
So, you already said it, and that's what I was going to say, the serenity, being serene.
Yeah.
And
you never met a monk that was sick. When they meditate all the time, they really stay well because they stay in that center.
It helped me. It has helped me so much. The move that I did yesterday was so much smoother after a week of yoga compared to the 2 weeks ago when I wasn't focusing on my health.
That's wonderful.
It was a mess. So thank you. So yeah, I really like that thought of the health in the center. Yeah.
I think the key though is the balance though, the
right.
Because at some point, sometimes we can get hyper focused on health, and then we're neglecting the other things too.
Right.
So I guess when you're going through a stage where you haven't been given the balanced time to one area, like maybe health, to jumpstart it, but the key is to eventually be balanced in
the
areas.
Right. Exactly right.
Like that.
I just neglected it. Like I just did not give it any focus.
Well,
I didn't give it any priority. My health.
I think we get in the Western civilization, we're so much in a hurry for everything, and everything becomes a big issue right now. We walk around putting out fires instead of living our life. So focusing on that one thing, I think it speaks more to meditation, and I think that's so that we will stop and take a moment to be peaceful.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing, because I took meditation. Yeah, I stopped. I didn't really do, I mean, the yoga helped physically to move, but I took, I mean, I can't, y'all have told me I cannot live in Zen like this on hyper Zen that I was on this week. You know, that reality sets in, and I'm not going to be able to attend 2 or 3 yoga classes and meditation today. But I think, oh, someone should do that occasionally.
Emily,
Just to
Emily,
get balanced.
you've had basically a staycation retreat this week.
I did.
Oh, that's
I
wonderful.
did. And it did me a world of good.
There you go. Get your chi balanced.
Yes, it did. It helped me to face the things that I have to, I mean, to get all my ducks in a row, or
There you go.
or to put out the fires. I've been,
There you go. See?
my hydrant is hooked up now
All right.
with the right hose, you know.
There you go. That's wonderful.
Maybe I said that wrong. I'm gonna have to cut that. But
You know,
I know I wanted to ask you, you've already answered the question, because I wanted to ask about clutter. Clutter can be even in a cluttered schedule, a cluttered car, social, yes, social, cluttered relationships. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Right.
Well,
I think if you're having a cluttered relationship or a cluttered car or whatever, if you use the intention of Feng Shui is all about intention. You're putting your attention on it, and you intend for it to be better. So you put your intention on it, so that in it. So what, like if your car needs cleaning or whatever, if you clean it and you like hang a crystal from your mirror, you're intending for that crystal to bring good energy into your car. So you become more mindful of it. And so the same thing with money, the money corner, which I get asked about more than any of them, of course. If you put your little charms or your coins or all the cures and your crystal in it, you are setting your intention for that. So every time you go by and you ring a wind chime, or your crystal is, you notice your crystal and the good energy coming out from it, the light and everything, then you focus, hyper focus almost on it, even if it's just for a couple of seconds. You focus on that, and so you're bringing your intention into it and your attention to it. And so you develop a relationship that every time you go by that area in your house, you remember it. And so it becomes more of a everyday thing. And when you're meditating, you can meditate on each one of those too, whichever one you need more help in, you can focus on that too.
and you know, I bet the money quarter is just not money, but if you're focused on it in the right way, it will help you be more frugal.
Right.
It will send positive provision your way.
Right. Prosperity in general.
Prosperity, and not just money, but
Right.
in all.
Prosperity. Mm-hmm.
That's,
But
yeah,
but
I
maybe
like
also
that.
a sense of abundance, that you feel like you're living in abundance.
Right. But it actually says prosperity in the Feng Shui books. And I think that's a good way to look at it, because you are wanting to be more prosperous, not just in money. We say
Yes.
money in the Western
Right.
way, but prosperity is, there's a lot of different definitions for that. So you can build on that too.
Yes. Well, y'all, I have to bring in the Bible. I'm sorry. Just
Go
for a
for it.
second. But there's a place in the Old Testament where there was a wise, one of the guys were when they were given the land and the Israelites, had inheritances and they were gonna give the land to there's this one dude, he gave his daughter a choice of the land she wanted, and she chose a piece of land that had 2 springs.
Oh, wow.
And that has always just stuck out with me. Like when I go and I ask, because I do petition God for my abundance and prosperity, but I always try to ask for the 2 springs.
Oh, wow.
Always
That's
a double spring. So
That's wonderful.
I
I love that
was gonna
idea.
say,
That's a great
I
idea.
don't remember where it was, but that was just noted in the Bible. That was a very wise thing to do. Is choose the 2 springs.
It's water.
Yeah, even though the
true.
land was probably smaller than another piece of land.
She had all
The 2 springs.
abundance she could
up for
get
the
in
water.
the desert.
Yes, the 2 springs.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think I've already asked you on my. Oh yeah, you've already told about that. I'm gonna cut this because I'm a little. All right. So I know that people are probably wondering when you might be offering a class.
Yeah, I'm planning on offering a class the 16th of September. It's a beginning class again. We're having a second beginner class because I want everybody to be in the same place when they come take the second class, which is much more involved and all that. So you need to have that beginner class under your
Yes.
belt. So
And that's gonna be 10 to 2.
10 to 2. It's on a Saturday. So everybody have block out your time so that we can have a good time. It's a party.
Yes. And it's going to be where?
It's gonna be at the
Oh,
Holistic Health
Health
and
and
Healing
Healing.
Center.
and that's here
Okay.
in Flowood, Mississippi. And of course, we'll share the links and all that on our website
That's great.
too. So no, that it was a fun class. We've taken it. We may take it again because I'm sure I need a
Please do.
refresher. I'm sure I need a refresher. Well, and we'll talk a little bit more about the class at the end, but Krista, do you think you're ready to share a few questions that were submitted by some of our audience?
Sure. And
Or
I
do
just
you have some questions?
yeah, well, I wanted to add that my experience with Feng Shui, I heard about it 30 years ago, but I always thought it was just about how you design or decorate your house. I thought it was just the Chinese way of decorating a house or designing the flow of a house. And it wasn't until I took your class that I realized, oh my God, that's just one aspect of it. It's this whole other thing.
Right.
And I did when I was building my house over 20 years ago. My brother-in-law was an architect and he was designing it. And I had me a little feng shui book. And I know he thought I was crazy because he would talk about ideas and say, no, the book says don't do it that way.
Well, people build their houses like that.
But in hindsight, I wished I'd have had you or another expert to actually, he may have taken y'all more seriously than me just sitting there with this book. Like the book's
Well,
but,
if you have someone, me or somebody else, whoever can do your chart, your personal chart, then
wow.
you would know what your lucky direction is, and you could have faced your house in that direction. Mine just
Wow.
happened to be in my lucky direction, thank goodness. But
Wow.
a lot of people aren't, so you have to use cures to get it in the right.
That is the cool thing that we learned in taking your class is, you don't have to sell your house and go build a new house to make sure it's all feng shui approved. You can take pretty any living situation you have and feng shui it.
Right.
To work with what's going on. And even though I had that little book, I mean, there's still things in my house that aren't, it's like you said, the way we live in the Western world is not how they lived when this system was developed. So, but I do find that very interesting, and I'm looking forward myself to learning more and taking more classes and just playing with it. But we did have several questions from some of our listeners and friends in the community. Kim asked several questions. I'll just do one of her questions at a time, and then we'll then go to the next person. Her first question was, what is the best location for if you're having an altar or some kind of area for ancestral veneration, where's the best place in the house to do that?
As close to the center of the house as you can get, because that's your health area, and your altar provides all that for you. You're focusing on that. So you want to get it as close to the center. And mostly in Western houses, unfortunately, the center of our house is where all the walls come together and it holds the ceiling up. So you have a piece of room here and a piece of room there, and the bathroom's usually close to it and all that sort of stuff. So you just have to find the place that speaks to you the best in the closest area to the center.
So you mean physically the center of the house, not necessarily metaphorically? Because for a lot of us, the kitchen or the living room, maybe or the family room, maybe the center of the house when we're talking about where everything's happening. But you're talking about the physical center of the house.
Physical center. And if you can't put it in the center, then you want to put it in the knowledge area, which when you come in the front door is always to the left at the very front of the house. So there's two places you can put it in, knowledge or health, but the health is the ideal place.
Okay. And I think you said this earlier, because some of us are familiar with the chakra system.
Right.
So with the heart and the solar plexus, that symbolizes the center of the house. So would that be kind of like they're near and dear to our heart? So that's why we would also have them near the center.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right. So Kim's next question is one that I think probably a question you get asked a lot. You already alluded to that everybody wants to know where their money spot is. How to set up a wealth spot, and what kind of, like, what location and what kind of items would we put in that?
Okay. Well, when you come in your front door, it's always the very back of the house to the left, to your left when you come in your front door. So if that's a closet or a bathroom or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can, it's generally, a bathroom is just a bad thing to have in the home anyway, because it drains wealth. Everything drains through the bathroom. And so the back left corner is, you can use the colors of the wealth, which are gold and green for money, gold for gold, and purple, which is red bumped up a notch, because the Chinese think red is the luckiest color. So you can use red, but you can use purple also. And but anything that's valuable to you is what you would keep in that corner, like your jewelry box or your safe, if you have a safe at home, or anything that's valuable to you, like something you inherited, or something that means something to you, that means prosperity. So you want to use that as a tool to remind you about the prosperity you're asking for, and that sort of thing. So,
and what other kind of items, simple items in our everyday life in Western culture, but also here in the South, could one put in that corner? Items to put in that corner, other items that would amplify that.
Well, you could use crystals, and you could in the Feng Shui class, I handed out these little red envelopes and you fill them. 8 is the number for the money corner. And you put 8 coins in it. There you go. You put 8 coins in it, and you can put that in that back corner, and it'll remind you that you have wealth in that corner. And you focus on the intention, like I said earlier, the intention. And like I said, your jewelry box and anything that's of value to you. So that's what you would put there.
And
I'm just showing some of the coins that she gave us.
So if someone doesn't have that cute little bag with the Feng Shui
envelope,
or Chinese symbols and the nice little Chinese coins, can we just use a red bag and put some quarters or something in there? Would that
yeah,
work?
and what I would do is find the coins that are the highest value to you or most interesting, or you could use the $2 coins that we used to get, the gold ones.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Sacagawea or Susan B. Anthony or somebody, but you can use 50-cent pieces or silver dollars or something that's unusual that really reminds you of wealth, not just pennies or dimes or whatever, but whatever you have, it still symbolizes wealth, but you use 8 of them, and that's real important. The 8 is the number for money. So, and you can also put a conch shell is holds money. So you can drop 8 coins down in a conch shell and put it on your altar too, or your money corner.
Wow. Wow. What if you put your ancestor altar in your money corner?
You can do that. Yeah, you can do that. But if that's the stuff that's more valuable to you than anything you have, like, in other words, the thing you put the most focus on for prosperity, like if you use your altar for that on occasion, in combination with anything else you might use your altar for, all of that is very valuable to you. So you could put your altar in that corner if you wanted to.
If I'm just making up scenarios here. I'm being annoying. If
No.
let's say, because this is kind of me, if you had a grandparent or a great aunt or somebody who was very special to you, and you do feel, that they're looking after you or whatever, and y'all used to collect pennies, and in that case, 8 bright, shiny pennies in her jewelry box in your
There you go. Boost it up.
Yeah, I guess even though there's these things that's traditionally used in this practice, is part of it too what's significant to you, like
Exactly.
this individual.
Yeah, it has to mean something to you. It's intention. So you put your intention on it, and if it's not valuable to you, then you don't have, it doesn't bring any energy to you that would be important.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do an altar, it cannot be cluttered and dusty, right?
Right.
You've got to keep it clean and in order.
The items are sacred to you, so you
Gotcha.
would want to do that anyway. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, great answers to a great question. Our next question comes from Julie, and she asked, what would be 3 top Feng Shui rules everyone should follow? Ooh.
Clutter, clutter, clutter.
Don't have it.
Don't have it. Get rid of the clutter. And cleanliness. So you want to not only not clutter, but you want to keep your space clean, especially if you're focusing on that spot in particular. You want to really go in and give it a good cleanse and clean it up and sweep and do all that kind of stuff. But then put your valuables or whatever it is you're trying to, if you're focusing on your family, put family pictures there and make sure the frames are clean and all that kind of stuff before you place them. And then you set more of an intention toward it.
So basically, declutter, cleanse the space, and then put things the things that are in the space need to have some intentionality to it.
Right, and place them where you really, like if you were hanging family photos up, you'd want to cleanse them and give attention to each one. They have, to have a high regard for them. You
Like,
want to,
You don't want to put them in the bathroom.
right. No, don't put your family in the bathroom.
I'm gonna go. What is your take on looking at your phone while you're in the bathroom?
I don't have a take on it. Can if you want to, I guess.
Well, no, I was just wondering about it being everything going down the toilet.
Well, that does happen if it's in your money corner. So you'd want to address the outside of the door more. So, and keep the door pulled to as much as you can. Like for instance, hanging a mirror on the outside of the door reflects, keeps all the energy on the outside of the door instead of going in and going down the drain.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say that you gossip and you know that that's not a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the best place to gossip would be in your bathroom. Because you can flush all that shit out.
I think that's an excellent description.
You know what I
That's
mean?
perfect.
If you're gonna have negativity and you need to do your venting, do it in the bathroom, then flush.
There you go. Why not?
Or just go outside.
Yeah, go outside.
Well, yeah. But I was just trying to,
That's an interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
No, but back to the bathrooms, when you taught your first class here at Holistic Health and Healing that Emily and I attended, we did our bathrooms were in a place that was not maybe the best place for a bathroom, or actually you said earlier, all bathrooms are have that tendency to pull the energy in and down. So I went and bought at Walmart near where the wallpaper and paints and all that stuff was. They had these little adhesive mirrors, and I just stuck the little mirror on each of our doors. So hopefully we won't be flushing any good mojo down the door.
You can also hang a crystal above the door, so that it helps disperse the energy so that it doesn't just fly into the bathroom. It's dispersed before it goes in.
Now, does it have to be a clear crystal? Because I think I may have pieces of selenite over the door. I'm not sure, would selenite work, or does it need to be clear quartz?
No, it needs to be round.
I think you need to put disco balls.
Yeah.
There you go. You could use a disco ball. That'll work.
I love it.
You like to party.
Very good. All right, so wonderful. Top 3 Feng Shui rules: declutter, cleanse, and set things in the right placement and intention. So that's wonderful. Here's a good question from Rhonda. This is kind of a two-parter, but I'm gonna go ahead and say both questions because they might piggyback off each other. Is the open floor plan that is so popular nowadays consistent with Feng Shui layouts? And what is the optimal floor plan out of the common ones now that would be best aligned with Feng Shui guidelines? And I think you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but
I don't know if there is an optimal layout in the way we build our houses now. They're just, there's so many L-shaped and U-shaped houses and rectangular houses where parts are missing and stuff. There's not a real optimal way
Other than just the round one.
Right, except round is perfect. But as far as the open floor plan, I think that's a really good floor plan. Is probably the best because the chi is allowed to come in and flow around. So there's nothing stopping it. No, like you wouldn't want a table, the corner of a table or the corner of bookshelves or anything focused at the front door, because that's called a poison arrow, and it points at the energy so that you really have it's a negative arrow pointing toward you when you come in. If you've ever sat in a chair and had a table corner pointing at you, you know that you feel a little uncomfortable there. And if you've never paid attention to it, pay attention to it sometime and see how it makes you feel. But I would say the furniture placement in an open floor plan would be important.
Gotcha. And so it's less walls you're having to, it's like you do have more flexibility to set things up in the way that would work best according to Feng Shui open floor plan.
The tea is invited in from the front door. So you want your front door to be beautiful, everything around your front door to be beautiful. Even if you come in your back door, you still want it to look nice. And it invites the chi in. And then when the chi gets in there, it swirls around. And if you've got rooms that you don't use or little back rooms or whatever, you want to try to bring the chi into that area too. So you don't want to keep it blocked off or closed up or whatever. You want that chi to flow everywhere in the house. That's why an open floor plan is the best, because the chi is invited in, and it's more area for it to move.
I love that. Wonderful. Karen, who?
Oh no.
Well, you can let that be the last question if you want.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna save hers for last. Let's go to Duane. Duane asks, where is the best, this is a good one, because I need to know this. Where is the best place to put the litter box? Now, she was kind of laughing when she asked that question, but actually that's a really good question. I had the bathroom.
Yeah, she may have said litter pan, but
Yeah.
wrote it.
The bathroom. That's the actual, they're going to the bathroom just like we do, and they use it the same way. So the best place would be hidden away in the bathroom, if you can possibly do that. If not, use it in a place that's very, the best thing to do would be to get a cover for the cat box and try to make it as inconspicuous as possible and keep it clean. But the bathroom is the best place
to do that. All right. And our last listener question is from Karen Parker. I think you know her well. And her question is, where is the best place to bury the body?
The bathtub.
I think she
let it all go down the drain. Put him in the bathtub.
Yeah, all the evidence gone out.
And if you have to bury him in the backyard, put a lot of crystals on top of him so his energy can't come back up.
Very good.
I love that.
Oh,
So not the basement.
I think that was the last of our listener questions, but I know I probably have lots of questions. I just have to get you out to my house one day, because
Great.
even though I tried to design my house Feng Shui friendly, I am not living in that house at the moment in a Feng Shui friendly manner. So lots of clutter.
Fixable.
So when, I don't know if I've shared this before, but one day I counted how many places I've lived in. I've moved around a lot, and it was like 34 times I've moved in my life. But the house I live in now, I've been in for over 20 years. So most of the moving around was done in my childhood, but because I moved around a lot, I really, I like being in one place now. But the problem with not moving is you collect things, and I know I've joked with Emily that she, almost every time I visit her house, she's rearranged things. Mm-hmm. Well, most of my furniture is in the same spot it's been since I built that house. I may occasionally stick a dust mop under there, may occasionally move it and mop it, but And I really have no desire to, I mean, okay, so here's a question. I like the way my stuff is. What if someone is comfortable with some clutter? What if someone views clutter, something's cluttered, but I don't view it as clutter. I view it as comfort.
Well, it depends on what kind of clutter it is. Like if it's papers and magazines and stuff like that, if you put them in a basket, then it's contained and it doesn't become clutter. It's intentional for you. You're comfortable with that, you want that, and you love that. So keep it, but just contain it in a pretty basket, and it makes you feel like I have a basket of goodies and I love them and I want to keep them. So, but if you have clutter like shoes and things like that, then you would want to intentionally put those up. You really want to focus on doing that for yourself, because I think you'll notice it's a huge difference in how you feel in your home. Because even if you don't dust under the furniture, which I have to say I'm guilty of a lot because I don't move my furniture much either. It's hard to get under there, especially as you get older. But if you can, do the best you can. And then it becomes intentional. You're running a Swiffer under there and you're intending to make it better. Then it becomes, it's an intention. So your intent is to make your environment better. And I think that's the whole thing, is if you want to live like you're living, then there's nothing wrong with that. If you're comfortable with that, then that becomes your sanctuary. And the whole thing is to have a sanctuary to go home to. Your meditation in the middle of the house is about being safe enough and feeling comfortable enough in your own environment to be able to meditate and to relax and not be afraid and not have any negative emotion tied to it. So if you're comfortable in your house, live in it. Just enjoy it.
But I think where
it's contained.
Back 20 years ago, building and furnishing that house and it becoming a home, I still, wanted it to look like a Southern living house.
Sure.
I don't care about that anymore. Now I don't really care about how it's decorated. I care about how I feel in each room.
Right.
And so to me, what may look like clutter to some people isn't clutter, but there's other things that I do know suck my energy. And that's the stuff that I want to, the things that when I walk by, just make me.
Well, if that's the way you're feeling about it, then you really need to address the thing.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you can't do it yourself,
things are pretty things.
So what?
They're pretty things. I mean, some things that take up clutter is not the junk mail, but I have junk mail cluttered on my dining room table. But I'm just saying, sometimes it's even the nice things though that it's time for them to move on and serve another purpose.
Right. Well, the one thing you have to remember when you're clearing clutter is that you can't eat an elephant all in one bite. You have to eat him a little at a time. So if you have some stuff sitting on the top of a dresser and it bothers you, then put it in a container that you can take somewhere else in the house so that you can dispose of it later or give it away or however you want to get rid of it. And then wipe off the area where it was and cleanse that area. And then you'll notice you feel better about it. I think that's why Emily moves her home around a lot, is she gets in a space where things need to be moved. Keep that chi going. And that's, I like to move things around some too, but I live with someone who doesn't like that. So, you have to compromise in that. So you learn to adjust a little bit. So we might move something a little bit. And then we have a room that we're completely redoing. We gutted it and painted it and starting all over. So that invites more chi into that area because you're spiffing it up and you're inviting the chi in.
Because it's very easy when you have a whole lifetime that needs to be decluttered. I mean, that's very intimidating. And so to me, it's just like one thing at a time. Don't tell me I got to go in and declutter my whole house, but I can clean out that one junk drawer one week. I can clean off the dining room table one day. I can do those things, but I have no desire to come in and uproot my house. I think that would just like send me in a tailspin.
Yeah, well, like I said, eat the elephant one bite at a time. So if you clean off that dresser top or you clean out that junk drawer, that's one more effort toward getting the perfect feng shui house.
Now,
Right.
I mean, now there are other things that I allow clutter. I clutter my life up with other things, but it's just always been seasonal for me. At least sometimes, well, more like 3 times a year, I have to move it and clean it. But it may not get clean until that 3 months. So I'm not a good duster. I don't clean every week, but it gets a thorough cleaning almost every 3 months.
Well, you know what they say about dust.
But
You go ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Be careful. You might be wiping one of your ancestors away.
oh, I didn't know that. That's right. But they're gone.
So you can look at it that way. I don't know.
But I will say, since I took your class, I've like every time I throw something away, it feels good. I haven't done it every time, but my trash comes twice a week, and I've been having this little game of, let me see if I can get an extra bag of trash, because I have saved. I'm one of these people, I'll save if there's a pretty empty glass jar, a pickle jar or something. I was like, I can use that. No good Southern housekeeper's gonna throw away the Cool Whip bowl. I mean, come on.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's
For bags, all those things. The kid, strawberries, I would save all the little green, because I used to be a preschool teacher and I was a mom, and I just collected stuff. I collected stuff because we would do projects. But the thing is, and that was fine for that season, but that's not the phase of life I'm in now. My youngest one's about to turn 20. They don't care about making arts and crafts anymore.
No.
I can throw all that stuff away. So it's a lot of those things, old papers, just that I'm not doing it every time the trash comes, but I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm starting an extra trash bag and I'll throw stuff in it. And I'm
Well, that's great. That's perfect for beginning to do that. Is moving the energy toward that. So every time you do that, it gets the energy moving more, so that you start to notice things more and you're more conscious of that. So you take more time to deal with it. So it's just a little intention. I do want to say there are a lot of books out there. When you take my class, I recommend a couple of different books. There's also feng shui cards, like we use oracle cards. There's feng shui cards. There's all kind of tools for feng shui, but they all are different. And if when in doubt, ask me and I'll try to help you. And I don't have to charge you for asking. It doesn't matter. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. But just if you want, I do consultations, of course. I come to your house and do that. And then, but I also do charts, and it takes a couple of days to do one of those. So if you want a chart that shows your best, your most important direction, your lucky stars, your lucky everything, and like the way direction you should focus on your house and all that stuff, can be quite different than the way your house is built. And the chart that we use in the beginning feng shui class might not fit exactly your chart. And so it's important sometimes, like, it's like trying to do astrology for yourself without an astrology chart. It can be difficult. But as a rule, the beginning class teaches you everything you need to know to get started in Feng Shui, and teaches you a lot about it so that you're able to get started.
Yeah, if you were going to do a chart for someone, if someone wanted you to do the chart for them, what information do you need to do that?
I need your full name and your birth date and the time of day you were born.
Full name, birthday, time of day.
That's it.
Yeah.
Kind of like an astrology chart.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So yeah, I'm so excited about we're doing the class again. We're going to have another beginner Feng Shui class here at Holistic Health and Healing on September 16th. And then they're not on the schedule yet, but you do plan to have a part 2 or a next level.
Right.
For those who've already taken the beginner class. And I also want to mention, we're talking about you presenting a class, lecture, I'm not sure how you want to call it, on world religions one day. We don't have that scheduled yet, but
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm very interested in.
You learn things you didn't know about.
Yeah, so what kind of things will you talk about in that class when that's ready to be presented?
Well, we talk about the different religions, and we kind of break it down into each one, sort of a little blurb about each one. And then we tie it all together, how it all fits together and what it means for different areas of the world, and how you can choose maybe a religion or focus on a religion that you've never thought of before. It's a really, and what a lot of the symbols and things we use in metaphysics have to do with different religions. So it might clarify some things for you in that area. Right.
Or to even know why those certain religions pick those symbols, because they have a metaphysical meaning to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so I'm looking forward to that. And when those classes get scheduled, of course, we'll put them on the calendar on the website, and probably might have you come back and talk to us again before we do that class if we have time, but or after the class we can do a recap.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So Janet is actually a directory member on our website, metaphysicalms.com. So you can find out contact information for her there, as well as we'll have it along on our blog and YouTube and the podcast when it gets released.
All right.
Yes. So coming on.
You're welcome. My pleasure. It was fun.
It was fun.
Yes. Thank you, Janet.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
All right. See y'all later. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance in the program does not imply endorsement of them or any entity they represent.